Hello and welcome back to the FPL Tom YouTube channel for a special Easter special. I said special twice there, didn't I?
You did because there's two of us.
There is
both
two of
special.
us. We are both also very, very special. But we are here for a deadline preview for Game Week 33. And for the first time ever, me and Jake are doing one of these in the same room, which is very nice to see, to be honest. Obviously, usually we do it over Skype. It doesn't really go to plan, and there's usually like some sort of technical difficulty. So hopefully there's none of them today, but we're doing it for Jesus' birthday.
Yeah.
So big up to Jesus. I hope everyone is having a good bank holiday Friday. Hopefully we can answer as many of your questions. We've got a poll going around on the chat as well. Who's going to be your top captain for double game week 33? Let us know in the comments who that is going to be. We're going to run through our teams, going to run through some other stuff as well, and not make it too long tonight. You know, we both want to watch that second half of that Leeds game, and I imagine a lot of people do as well, especially if they're going to bottle it. That would be nice to see. Jake, how are you doing, mate? You doing good?
Yeah, I can see all the works here. It's fancy, isn't it? I mean, no one really will be aware of the fact that when I watch, when I do our stream, I can see less.
You just see a laptop.
I can see a laptop, and even when I've tried to see the YouTube stream, it usually disconnects my internet and I start becoming glitchy. So, yeah, it's nice to be able to actually speak to you and see you properly, and hopefully not be the culprit of the stream going tits up.
Oh, well, hopefully not, mate. Hopefully not. Let's have a look through the chat, see what's going off. Jessica's in here. Woodstock Chris, thank you very much for being here. Lots of channel moderators and members in here as well. Paul's in here. Great to see you guys. Doing it for Jesus' birthday. Today's the day he died. Oh my God, it is. Did I say Jesus' birthday?
Oh, does he come back to life on Sunday or Monday?
No, he died today, didn't he? I think he croaked today. Back Sunday.
Yeah.
And then he just had Monday.
And then he just went, let's have Monday off.
They went, right, we're in that big a shock, lads. Let's just have Monday off, I reckon. They just sacked it off Monday.
No, you said we're doing it for Jesus' birthday. We can still be doing it in, like, homage.
Technically, he wasn't born at, like, Christmas either. He was born in the summer.
Oh, I think that's a stream for another
Yeah,
time,
that's a different stream. That is a different stream. But, yeah. Tom, you left the boat of Fantasy Champions League streams. I'm sorry, mate. They will be back next season. I just can't get the time off work at the moment. But yeah, it's already been. You know, there's no technical difficulties, but I'm just rambling absolutely shit, to be honest.
Oh, it's a very much spontaneously thrown together stream.
Yeah. We did it in about 2 minutes, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're just gonna run through our teams. Answer any questions that we get. Obviously, there'll be a deadline stream tomorrow. There'll be a lot more put together and professional, I hope, anyway. But yeah, let's start off. Let's start off with, you know what? Let's go to your team first, Jake. Let's see how you got on in game... That's the wrong one. There it is. There's the technical difficulties already. There is Jake's points from double game week 32. Talk me through it, mate. What went well? What didn't go so well? I don't think you're going to be able to see it on there. Maybe get it on your phone.
That's right, I can see it now.
Right,
I just put my glasses on, but you just can't see me.
There you go, right.
The perfect stream we're after.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to touch on my team too much. I think the main thing you'd say is Isak was a necessity. Nick Pope has kept me with a fairly reasonable score with the doublers. I think a lot of people will have fancied Palace in the double game week, and for, half an hour, 35 minutes of the first game, everyone was like very much...
Anybody that went Glasner was probably jizzing the Knicks at that one. They were like, this is the guy, yeah.
So, yeah, I think for at least half an hour, people were very much convinced Palace was the way to be. And then it went very much downhill, and they conceded 10 after that in the same game week. So that's not ideal. Having Eze was also... I was on the train of Palace with Eze scoring. Had a goal disallowed for being inches offside. Then it went completely downhill. Then he missed one of the worst penalties ever. Fortunately, I had Pope in goal to pick it up.
You did, yeah.
But I think that is kind of all I need to really talk about. I think at least I wasn't ruining the fact that I didn't have Mateta. That's all I can really take.
Yeah. He was a big donkey as well for that double game week, to be honest. At least you had some points from Saar and Eze, I guess, from that. Look into your team then for this game week. Obviously, you've made one transfer already. You told me about it. You have taken Salah out. You've gone with KDB, and you've given him the armband. And you've also said that you're going to bench boost this game week. You've got 2 free transfers left in hand. Who else is potentially crossing your mind as a player you would potentially look to go and bring in for this week?
It's tricky, to be honest, because it depends on what I'm doing next week, with it being a few teams missing players.
Not just a few, a lot. A lot, yeah. Most of your team.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I'm just not sure whether, if I'm going to go and free hit there, then I can do whatever the hell I like.
Yeah.
And kind of gung-ho into this double game week, because of course, as you can see, I've still got the likes of Evan Nilsson and Isak and Byrne. Can I see anything else? And Zabani. So I've got 4 players there that have only got a single game week, and if I'm bench boosting, you'd want to utilise the double.
Yeah.
However, I also, if I'm going to be free hitting next week, then I'm going to be wanting to be aware of the fact that I've got to have a few players that have got decent fixtures coming up over the final few games. Alternatively, if I'm not going to free hit and I want to save it for that potential, is it a confirmed double?
Not confirmed yet. It's all based on FA Cup progression and stuff like that.
But if I wanted to take that gamble, then I would, of course, use these 2 free transfers to potentially sacrifice a couple of single-playing players for players that are also probably going to only play in 1 game week.
Yeah.
However, it looks more favourable to me having more of a starting 11. I haven't actually had a count. I did have a count the other day, and I think I have about 7 or 8 players potentially.
I mean, we can have a look.
Yeah, I think that's including if I were to do my transfers in a favourable manner.
So this would how it would look right now.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so okay. So it would be 7 is the best I can do now without taking a minus.
Yeah.
And that reason being because I brought De Bruyne in.
Yeah. So I think because of that transfer, you're probably looking more
free hit
rather than not free hit this game week.
Yeah, and in which case then I feel like it's probably worthwhile I look ahead at the fixtures coming up after next week before I just go full on into this fixture. However, if you end up taking a -4 or whatever it may be in 2 weeks' time, I don't think it's the end of the world if you are sacrificing 1 or 2 players when they've got that second chance.
I mean, if you would really be hoping here that City, and I think it's Bournemouth, potentially could get the double at the same time. Someone correct me if I'm wrong on that one, but I think City and Bournemouth could get the double at the same time, so you could be left in a pretty decent position anyway heading into that double game week.
Yeah.
So I think you're all right. I think you're fine to free hit next week.
I'm just trying to make sure that I'm actually.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Hang on. Now you're on screen. Yeah. There you go.
I was just looking on the laptop and I was like, oh god.
Yeah. It's fine. It's fine.
But yeah, so yeah, I think I'm in a decent position for this week, and after having that reality check that my team is going to be very much stripped back next week, I think
free hit's going to be
free hit's going to have to be the way, and yeah, like you say, hopefully it'll work out favourably for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I haven't really looked into it too much. I think I don't know. For some reason in my head, Chelsea assets might be someone to look at, but I just don't know where I'd focus my time and energy. I don't know what the fixtures are looking like. I can have a little look whilst you wamble on about your team or whatever you're going to do next.
I was just going to answer some questions, to be honest, mate. People are saying who's the best Gabriel replacement. I mean, you've got Saliba, you've got Kivior. If you've not gone for Gavardio, maybe Ruben Diaz potentially are probably going to be your top ones, to be honest. It looks like Woodstock Chris is living his best life as well with a homemade espresso martinis and some nice potatoes with some rainbow trout as well. He's really living the high life on the bank holiday weekend, is Chris here. So fair play.
And he thought, you know what way to top it off? Let's tune in.
He's going to go, I've tuned into the lads. I'll let them know as well what I've had for me dinner.
I've just had my dinner and served you, and I'm sure your lips are watering, even though you don't tend to go for the
meat.
Espresso. Well, yeah. I went for the espresso martinis other than the obvious.
Not the
obvious
rainbow
food.
trout, no.
Sounds good though.
Yeah, there we go. Andy's in the chat as well. He says, hey guys, I think it's really hard to pick a Villa player this week. What do you think? I think with them being out of Champions League football, I think it makes it a bit easier for me. I think Rodgers is probably going to be an assert I would be looking to go for, to be honest.
100%.
Yeah. I think that's the play for me. Any kind of progress with your fixtures you've made there?
Yeah, just having a little look. I mean, yeah, I think it really very much depends on what people's plans are regarding next week as well. Because, I mean, I think the ideal answer here is to bench boost when you've got so many opportunities to have doublers. However, you don't want to go full on unless next week you've got a plan.
Okay.
So, like for example, Villa players. I think Villa players would be a great choice. Like you say, Rodgers.
Yeah.
Rashford, I thought he played excellently.
It looks like he could be the leading number 9 as well.
100%.
I think he could be a decent shout, to be honest.
Yeah, and so I feel like that's a great idea to have those assets. However, of course, you've got to bear in mind the fact that they don't play next week.
Yeah. So if you've got the free in at the back pocket, you go straight for that, don't you? Instantly active.
Exactly. But yeah, having a little look. I mean, there's if I want to get my words out.
Are you going to say there's some good single game week fixtures?
Yeah,
there are.
For the fact that, like, for myself, I'm looking ahead. I've got 2 free transfers now because I've used De Bruyne for Salah. And if I'm going to free hit next week, then that foregoes next week's fixtures and looks ahead towards what the fixtures are going to be like after that.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Everton.
Okay.
They've got Ipswich at home, Fulham away, Southampton at home.
It's not a bad run, that. Not a bad run.
During this game, they have City at home, who, of course, as much as they might have turned a little bit against Palace, they still concede goals.
They do, yeah.
And so there's certainly an opportunity there. I'm just having a little look as I talk to you.
Forest have got some nice fixtures as well.
They do. They
Tottenham,
they really do. Yeah.
Like, that's a big game for them. Brentford, Palace, keep going. Leicester, West Ham. It's a good run for Forest. If you're not convinced on maybe Mateta for this double game week, buying back into Chris Wood might not even be the worst idea in the world.
100%. You got, yeah. What would you think about maybe a Jarrod Bowen?
I've got Jarrod Bowen. I'm very happy to have him going forward as well.
Southampton at home, and then say you skip the Brighton game because you free hitting, or you may still bring him in for the free hit.
But then the Tottenham game, the Tottenham and United games are in between their semi-finals. So you think both of those teams there are probably going to be rotating a bit.
Yeah, and if you're looking for for players towards the end of the season and to finish the season off, you then finish that season off after you said. The fact that they've got both European sides either side of their semi-finals, you then finish the season with Forest at home, which who knows when you're at home, and then Ipswich.
Well, you could probably sell him by that point if you really.
But even so, you've got Ipswich final there of the season.
Yeah, you never know. You never know.
So yeah, I think that's another route to look down, is potentially looking at a couple of players. If you've got the free transfers, maybe just have a look and use them and swap out a few single playing players this week. But I would definitely say don't be considering taking out doublers.
No, I'd agree with that. Right, let's move on to my team then. Let me head back here and do some squiggly little updates. This is how my team got on in double game week 33. Was a red arrow in the end. It didn't help with both Isak and Salah being over 200% effective ownership. Is that correct? I can't remember.
I think that's what you
Salah was over 100. Isak was 218, so I didn't get anything out of either of those guys. And then the other players that I needed to turn up to help me gain rank didn't really do so. The players that did obviously score big, Jacob Murphy, it was good having him. Marmoush, Sarr, they were all well-owned players heading into this double game week anyway. And obviously Dan Burn didn't do as well as, like, say, if you picked a Fabian Schär, for example, or a Nick Pope. So obviously I'm not really getting too much out of the Newcastle clean sheet either. Cole Palmer was the big disappointment of the week for me as well, with just 4 points. Not great. And of course, benching Konza, I was scared about his minutes. Went with Gavardiol in the end, which wasn't a great tactic from me. So overall, not the best game week, but I was always kind of suspecting a red arrow. We're still within a decent position. We're back at 16k. We just need something to go our way. One player that's a little bit different that potentially could hop us into that top 10k. And I do think I've got something very saucy. I don't think I've told you what I'm going to do yet. But
no, you haven't.
You're going to like it. You're going to like it. We can actually, if I do this right, hang on. If I do this right, I can bring it on here now. I've not got you, have I? Oh, give me a second, guys.
You've not got me, what do you mean?
Like, usually I'd have to have this set up for you and not for me. Yeah. I mean, we're still live, but you know.
Oh yeah, because like
Yeah.
Skype.
Yeah, Skype would be in the way, and I couldn't just like squiggle on screens like this. Right, let me set this up. Give me a second. Sorry, apologies, guys. Right, that would be. Yeah, it's worth the wait. Trust me, it's worth the wait. That is what most ladies say as well, and then they're pretty boring and just do missionary. But that's a different story. That's not a story for Jesus' birthday, is it? Are you liking what I'm doing so far here?
No, I'm intrigued.
It's going to be a naughty reveal for the people that, you know, everyone here is just tenderhooked, waiting for me to put this team out. Was that everything? No, it wasn't.
Wow, was if he's going? Oh yeah, fair enough.
Boom. Right, are we ready? Are we ready for the big reveal, chat? Get your minds ready for what you're about to see on screen. Boom. This is what I'm thinking with a bench boost, by the way, as well. So Raya, Saliba, Munoz, Gavardiol, Saul, Rogers, Salah, KDB, Marmouche, Isak, Mateta. Bench boost with Areola, Bowen, Konza, Kivior. Obviously no Saka. Triple Arsenal defence. But we do have KDB, and I really like KDB as an option. I think he looked really good against Crystal Palace. I don't see a reason that they should like be benching him, to be honest. You know what I mean?
I completely agree, and I also am tempted by Kivior because I've got Dan Burn, single game week.
Upgrade to Kivior.
Upgrade to Kivior. 2 very decent games.
Yeah.
Palace have decided that they're going to shit themselves, and Ipswich is one of those games you'd expect them to get the result. Of course, we have spoke off air that maybe there's the Sydney Sweeney effect, but that's who knows if that will actually come into play.
I think the Sydney Sweeney effect definitely could come into play for this Arsenal fixture. If you've never heard us talk about the Sydney Sweeney effect, let me quickly explain it. It's basically like what was I saying? Like you.
Well, so this is what are you as in like the comparison with Morgan Rogers, or are you saying what the Sydney Sweeney story is?
No, yeah, I was explaining what the Sydney Sweeney effect
Well,
is.
it's when you happen to on a whim.
On a whim, yeah.
Bump into Sydney Sweeney and you maybe meet her in town. Let's say like where would you say like Factory in Manchester?
Oh yeah, she'd definitely be.
Quids in.
She'd be down at Quids in.
Yeah. And you end up having a night to never forget, which is almost like a it's
winning at the Bernabeu.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah. And you will then go home, be like, what just happened there, blah 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 blah, and then 3 days later
You're back out,
and
you're at Mansfield.
Yeah,
you're at After Dark.
Yeah, exactly.
And you get with a Moo like a 5 out of 10.
Well, no, it could even. That's the thing, though. It could even be a 7 or 8 or a 9.
Yeah, it's just not comparing
But
to Sydney Sweeney,
you've got
is it?
that mental thing of this happened on Wednesday.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking about that, so I can't actually focus on this with my full capacity.
No. You're still in the thing where you're like, oh my God, Sydney Sweeney was in this bed last week. Now it's just Debbie who works at Tesco's.
And if you're not careful, you got Debbie in bed and you're talking to her about Sydney Sweeney, and she gets off before you've actually done the deed. And so
you might be a bit limp. You
Exactly.
could be a bit limp because you're still thinking about it. You can't quite get it up for Debbie, to be honest. So I think that's potentially the way it could go with that one.
Exactly, and so the same being with Arsenal is they're too busy thinking about the
Champions League,
the miracle that
the next date with Sydney Sweeney, because they progressed as well.
Yeah, I know they actually performed above expectations with Sydney, and she's actually left them her business card.
The business card, is it? She's got a number on it. She's gone, if you need me.
She wrote on the back of her neck the card.
she went, right, you call me up here, yeah?
You can get some points as well.
You can get some points as well.
But here's my number.
Yeah, call me up. Don't mind it.
And you're like, well, I can't do Saturday because I've actually got Debbie coming round. She's like, that's fine.
That's fine.
I'll see you in a week's time.
Yeah.
Your head's not going to be thinking of it. That Saturday's going to be very complacent.
It is.
So, long story short, is that I think Arsenal
could have the Sydney Sweeney effect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If they're not focused, if their head's not in the game, they will clearly see the Madrid game in the back of their minds. The future games against PSG. I guess the best analogy for that would be that Sydney's passed their number on to someone else in the industry.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Arsenal should get the job done, but it would not be a foregone conclusion. Who that bottom comment?
Just googled her. She's a minger. Oh my days.
Well, okay, well, if you were to look at things from an unbiased perspective, I think you can appreciate that she is an attractive person, whether you think she's a minger or not.
Yeah.
I would say for the majority of people, that is a good comparison and a good analogy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the triple Arsenal defence with those two fixtures is potentially a money maker.
It is. The only thing I do worry about is not having Saka, right? Because he will be highly owned. Really, really highly owned. Now, I could just be sensible and just have Saka for this game week, right? Captain him, keep myself safe, bring in KDB for their potential other double game week. But I just think, is he going to start both games? And like you said, is there going to be a point where they get that Sydney Sweeney effect as well? Maybe they limp across Ipswich, or maybe he doesn't see the midweek fixture against Palace, or starts on the bench for one of them with Champions League in mind. I know they've got a break at the weekend with the FA Cup, so maybe that's where they see the break for Saka, but I don't know. I'm just not 100% convinced on it, to be honest.
Would you consider taking out Jacob Murphy putting back Jacob Murphy and taking Saka out for Salah?
No. I genuinely think Salah could score most in some double game week players this week.
Maybe that's just my Liverpool head, but we have been extremely underwhelming.
You have, but if you've seen Leicester recently, my God.
I know.
They are
This is
dreadful.
the thing, though. Like, I think with the likes of Arsenal, especially with them playing first, if this analogy comes into play, and Arsenal get something from that, Ipswich gets something from that game, then it's once again, every time Arsenal drop points and stuff, Liverpool just amble their way towards this title. And with there not being too much to play for, I feel like it's one really where Leicester can go out and just give them fans something to cheer about. It depends on the start, because it could very easily be a whitewash, like you say, but I also feel like it'd just be typical, especially if Arsenal were to drop points. But of course, you're not going to be wanting to manifest that, considering you're hoping for a clean sheet for Arsenal.
Yeah.
I do get the point with Saka. I do get it, because there is that chance he gets rested or rotated, or I think suddenly, because Arteta's realised he's in this amazing position of Champions League semi-finals, I think he has realised that Saka is someone he does need to rotate and not play into the ground. So I feel like I'd be quite surprised if he does see 90 minutes out in either game. But yeah, I think there is that chance he'll miss him, but I think it's a toss-up there between Salah and Saka. I think that's all it is. And
I'm more confident in Salah.
Completely get that Salah will play at least 80, 85 minutes, if not 90.
Yeah.
And he only tends to come off before the 90th minute if he's already done something. So yeah, I'm with you. I think that works. I am very much licking my lips at Kyrgios, because I can imagine he'll be in the price budget for me to be able to afford him.
He will.
And take out the likes of maybe a Dan Werner or a Zabani. Zabani's been rotated, annoyingly. They got that 1-0 against Fulham and he only played 45 minutes. With Senesi rotating for him.
It's not what you want, is it?
No. So I think it might be a Zabani out and a Kyrgios in.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Sweet. What do you think about that then? Would you be tempted with that -4 move that I've made there? Would that tickle your pickle?
100%. I think even I could end up doing a -4 tonight, especially considering we've got the whole evening together. I think I could end up chatting us both into me making a mistake. Well, not a mistake, but into making a minus.
I beg your pardon.
I'll get you a drink first.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I could end up talking myself into making that minus, because arguably taking a -4 is actually not the end of the world, as long as you're picking a player that is bound to get.
You've got the bench boost to cover it, I guess.
Bench boost and the fact that a lot of them are doubling.
Yeah. Some late night pillow talk for me and you then, I guess that's going to be in it. What are you going to do with your team? Looking in the chat, thank you very much for 13 months of being a member, George. Massively appreciate that, mate. I do think You are our longest serving member, if memory does serve me correct. So thank you very much, mate. Massively appreciate that.
Yeah, that's because my 99p subscription failed
I
last
saw
month.
that, yeah. You've been kicked out of the Soggy Biscuit Club. They've booted you out.
99p in my bank can't hack it.
Yeah, they've gone, no, get him out. They've get him out. Oh dear. Right, let's move on then. Let's talk through our last topic before we answer some of your guys' questions. Like I said, it's not going to be a long one tonight. Obviously, we want to watch the second half of the Leeds game. It's been a long day.
It's that Liverpool. Let's just come out like a sore thumb.
Yeah,
when
yeah.
you've said how Salah's important. I've already made my move.
Yeah, looking at the betting data then, there are some really big fixtures here that I think stand out like a sore thumb, like you said. The Arsenal-Ipswich one, the Leicester-Liverpool one, City-Villa, Arsenal-Palace, and West Ham versus Southampton. So I definitely think, Jarrod Bowen's going to be on a lot of people's radars. I know he's only got a single game week fixture, but some decent ones post that as well. He could be a really, really good option. Any that are kind of picking your eye at the moment?
Yeah, West Ham is an interesting one. I was looking at them, of course. I've had to do my last man standing teams for two sets of fixtures this weekend, and covering over Sunday and Monday, West Ham was someone that did spring to mind. However, I couldn't get 100% behind West Ham. I think I'd be foolish to be putting all my eggs in a West Ham basket. However, they are playing against the side that are definitely championship quality.
Yeah.
West Ham actually gave Liverpool a good go. We're unfortunate not to come away with something at the weekend. And I would say that is maybe in parts down to Liverpool's complacency in stages, but I actually think West Ham did when they attacked, look quite threatening. Kudus, Bowen, Fulkrug off the bench. They do have some decent outlets. So yeah, I think that should be a comfortable win really on paper. So yeah, I think a Bowen would be a great chance. I think a Kudus also looked very good in the games that I've seen, but Bowen just is that inevitable, isn't he?
He plays 90 minutes. There's no risk of him ever being rotated, and he's sort of playing a bit up front at the moment as well. So he would be the pick. In terms of the Leicester fixture, then let's move on to that one. Obviously, you've sold Mohamed Salah. There's a 7% chance that Leicester get a clean sheet. How is that making you feel? A 7%
That's
chance?
the thing, though. I can see us scoring. I can, but there are so many different players who score for Liverpool. Salah has had Salah's purple patch was at the start of the season up until maybe a month or so ago, where he has now started to become a little bit more of a team player. Maybe that's because the team have relaxed a little bit.
Maybe because he's got the contract through.
Yeah,
he's done his hard graft.
Exactly, so he doesn't have to work too much till next season. Going out the Champions League hasn't helped his Ballon d'Or shout either, so maybe that'll have affected him mentally. But he still racks up the assists. He still gets the odd goal, and he's of course on penalties. So I'm not saying he's not going to do anything this weekend, but I just think there are several other Liverpool assets who will be just as likely, if not more likely, at the moment. Luis Diaz has been in great form in front of goal. You've got the rotation aspect of Gakpo, Jota, and even going back into the midfield, there are players who are well astute at becoming the answer this weekend. So I just think it's one of those really where Salah, he'll be licking his lips. He'll be wanting to break that record of goals in a 38 game season, and this is a game where he needs to make the most of it. However, I've gone with them in my last one standing. Okay. So that's enough backing for Liverpool for one game week.
All right. Looking at the Arsenal defence, obviously with my team, I had triple Arsenal defence heading into this game week. 44% in both games. It's feeling quite maybe the smart move, to be honest.
Yeah, certainly is. That is impressive. I can't really say anything else about it. It is slightly below average, but of course it's bloody high. I can see them keeping a clean sheet against Palace because of the form that Palace have suddenly hit. Yeah. Of course, should Palace bounce back beforehand against Bournemouth, they've got a very good opportunity to. Because I think Palace and Bournemouth are kind of in a similar position to being a little bit inconsistent, but when they are good, they do look really threatening. When they're bad, it just goes wrong. So they've got the practice game before the Arsenal game. However, yeah, I do see them keeping a clean sheet there. But of course, as we've alluded to, I think away at Ipswich, knowing that it's only really a formality before they go down, they're going to want to give their fans something because they're at home to Arsenal for the only time really this, well, who knows for how long in league football again. Whether they were to bounce straight back up, it remains to be seen. Personally, I think that's probably a bit unlikely, but who knows? It's just a bit of a, what's the word? A bit of a
unknown
ballot, isn't it?
Yeah,
for championship promotion. It's so competitive, so they've got to make the most of these games now. They've got to enjoy themselves. Like I say, it's probably a formality they're going down, and they're playing against Arsenal, where Arsenal have got this potential hangover looming over them.
Yeah. Agreed. Any other fixtures you want to talk about on there, or are you all good?
City backs our points. You potentially captaining Marmoush, am I right?
Yeah, I think that's going to be the way I'm going to go. Looking at the poll as well in the chat, 57% of people as well in the chat are going to go for him on captaincy as well. I've got good eyes, mate.
Where's this poll?
On the left here.
Oh, blimey! God, you've got everything here.
I know, lad. This is it. This is the setup. You see everything here.
It's class. Yeah.
Command center. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everything here. You usually just see the sky.
And
it's
just a blank screen.
You don't even see my face.
No.
You can't see my face.
No, this is lovely.
Yeah. But yeah. I think that's why I'm going to go for captaincy.
Yeah, and I'm the same with De Bruyne. I think he looked. I would be very surprised if he misses a game now that City have got nothing to play for in the league. Of course.
Cool.
Of course they've got European football to fight for.
Yeah.
But De Bruyne is not going to hinder their performances, and he looked like a man possessed against Palace. He single-handedly, in my opinion, turned that game on its head. And I think, now that he's announced he's leaving, he's going to play every minute if he can.
Well, Pep's not really got a reason to keep him fit. And I think he'll say to Pep, play me in every game.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm leaving. Just play me till I'm dead. Yeah. He won't care.
100%.
1-0 to Leeds apparently already.
Oh, okay. We'll do another hour on here.
Oh dear, not Leeds. Oh God, can't be doing with them in the Prem. Right, let's answer some questions before we do finish up. Let us know what you've got, and we will try and answer as many as we can. What have we had in already? Mbuemo or Bowen? Who do you guys think? I am looking at Mbuemo post game week. Blank game week 34, but I think if you wanted to pick one right now, probably would look at Bowen ahead of Mbuemo for this moment.
Home to Southampton as well.
Yeah. Is Palmer, Chalobah and Gibbs-White to Bowen, Saliba and Rodgers worth it? I think if they're all free transfers, yes. As a -8, yeah, they've got doubles. Sod it, go for it.
I agree.
Yeah. Which combo getting more points? Konate and Arteta for a -4, or Kivior and Glasner? No -4. I guess it's one of those. Glasner has the chance for table bonus yet again, but Palace have been poo. They have been.
But it would be so typical that people of Glasner last get double game week and they don't this time, and he does absolutely insane.
Would you switch to Arteta though? I know he's top of the predicted points for assistant managers, but I just can't see him winning both of the games. I don't know what it is. I just can't.
Yeah, that is true. It's a tricky one. I'd probably stick with Glasner, to be honest. Okay. Especially for the minus. You've got such a good. There's such a raised ceiling with Glasner as opposed to Arteta's points potential.
Yeah. Agreed. Could be a big swing though. We saw that last week. How was the more kind of conservative, just regular doubles? Glasner had 2 chances of table bonus. I think there was a 23-point swing. So it's a big one with the assistant managers. So I just say trust your gut a little bit, to be honest. Top 3 Villa picks. I would go Rodgers, Konza, Rashford. I don't know if
I think that's pretty much bang on. I think Asensio is definitely someone that's going to float in and out, but to get consistent game time will be a question. I think now that, like you say, they're out of Europe, they've only really got they've got the cup to prepare for, but for the double, it's just almost an audition really to see who can get in. But I think the three you mentioned are going to be certified starters, especially the first two with Conter and Rodgers. There'll be rotation, no doubt, with Rashford and Watkins.
Yeah.
I don't know if does Watkins play at the same time as Rashford, or does he like to
No,
have him as the 30?
Rashford's the number 9 at the moment. That's where he's been playing.
Yeah. So that's the only thing, because of course if they are starting one, then I imagine the other will see out the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rashford did look really good against PSG, and he has been involved in a lot of goals recently. So yeah, I'd probably agree with you there.
Yep. Captain says Jessica, Mateta, Watkins, Isak, Salah, Saka, Rodgers, or Jacob Murphy. I would be tempted with either Saka or Salah. Would be my two for captaincy for this week out of all those picks.
Yeah, I wouldn't be going for a Newcastle asset with them playing one game, and isn't it Villa?
It's Villa.
That's a tough one. I'm not saying they won't get points, but I think that you're backing the wrong ship there, because you've got the likes of Saka and Mateta as a double, doesn't he? Yeah, so
yeah,
you've got two players there at least have a second bite at the cherry.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, if I had to choose, I would probably go for. It's a tough one, you know, because I am worried about Saka's game time to completely bank on him.
Yeah.
It's a shame you don't have any City assets, I must say. If you have any City attacking outlets like a Marmoush or a De Bruyne or... I think that's really it, to be honest, when it comes to committing to a captain. I think Mateta. You know what? Out of the options you've said, I think Rodgers is an honourable mention, but I think I'd go for Mateta. I know he didn't look great, and I know Palace capitulated a little bit, but Glasner's had a good season with Palace. They've got a good side, and they're at home, and as we know, their fans are fucking brilliant. So at home to Bournemouth, there's a great chance for them to bounce back.
Yeah. Fair enough. What other questions have we got? We'll answer a few more before we do wrap up today. Bench one of Bowen, Murphy, or Mateta. Probably would be Murphy, in my opinion. I
don't think there's even a question of that. I know Murphy's had good form, but if you've got Bowen at home to Southampton and he doesn't do as well as Murphy away to Villa, you're just unlucky.
I think Zach makes a good point with his question here, to be honest. Surely Everton at Goodison and Villa at home is far worse than Ipswich away and Palace away. I get that. I do think maybe a couple of months ago I'd agree with you, but I think where we are in terms of the season right now, obviously perspectives change for certain clubs. Arsenal know they're probably second. Their focus is solely going to be Champions League football, making sure everybody's fit, and there will be a hangover from that win at the weekend. There just will be. It's natural. Whereas City's sole focus now is get top 4 football and probably win the FA Cup alongside that. That will be their success.
Yeah, they've still got that Champions League battle on their hands, so they need to win these games. And my word, when they needed to, I thought Palace were going to absolutely batter them. They were carving them open, and as soon as I think De Bruyne hit the post with the shot, I was like, oh my word, he's gonna turn this game on its head, and lo and behold, he then scored and set up one. And I just feel like sometimes City have got that in them, where they've got players who can just pull a game out of nowhere. Yeah. And Palace were in arguably the best form of anyone in the league, and they made them look like schoolboys. Yeah. So I think this is it's a good point you raise, but like you say, especially when you've just played a blinder away at Madrid, to go to Ipswich, it's a completely different scenario. So I think it'll say a lot about Arteta if they go and get the job done and make us look wrong and outscore City in both of those games. Fair play to Arteta and to Arsenal, because that's professionalism at its finest. They should be doing that and getting the job done, but I think that there is going to be priorities quite clear over the next few weeks. Yeah, he's actually changed his point there as well. He says, yeah, that's a good call. You reckon I cap KDB or Marmoush? I probably would go Marmoush for me, but I do like the option of KDB. I just think Marmoush is going to be, if you're in a decent position with rank, he's going to be quite highly owned, so probably will have quite a high effective ownership. KDB on his own is already going to be a big differential, never mind with captaincy. But if you're miles back and you fancy a little bit of fun at the end of the season, go KDB. personally, with Haaland injured and with Marmoush up top, he's a great asset. But I do think that also means that without KDB doing his thing, City will struggle. I don't think Marmoush is that guy yet at City to be able to take a game by the scruff of the neck without the help of the others. And I think De Bruyne will be the answer to that. So the only way I can see Marmoush outscoring KDB is if KDB's putting them on a plate for Marmoush, which is very much a possibility. But in my opinion, I think De Bruyne has to be on top form for Marmoush to be.
Okay, all right, final question then before we finish
Someone's captain in Mateta because I told them to. So I've got a lot of pressure in
the influence you've got here. Right, final question before we finish up and go and watch the Leeds game. What is going to be the lowest scoring game of the game week?
Lowest scoring we're going this time.
Oh no, sorry, highest scoring. I always do this.
Highest scoring, we're going to go...
Did you hear that?
Was that you?
That was my
arse. I thought that was upstairs,
no,
someone dropped something.
That was my arse, sorry.
Wow. We could have played that off finally. Highest scoring game, I'm going to go... It would just be typical that Liverpool absolutely batter Leicester here and Salah gets about 5. So
yeah,
I'll go for Liverpool-Leicester. How about yourself?
I'm going to go... which way do I go? What do I go for?
West Ham-Southampton.
West Ham-Southampton does screen goals. What other fixtures? Hang on.
What have Wolves got? We haven't mentioned them once.
Exactly, that's who I'm thinking. I would probably go...
Oh, no, that one actually has got goals in it.
Oh, yeah, that has. Oh, Fulham-Chelsea.
Oh, okay.
You can see that being 0-0 or 8-2. No in-betweens. 8-2 or 0-0. So, I probably would go with that one, to be honest. I think that's probably where I'd be at.
I think Brentford-Brighton's also got...
Brentford-Brighton,
You know what, though? On a serious note, I think all these games...
There's goals.
Looks like it's got a goal in it.
Yeah.
It might be a sneaky little bet of just over 0.5 goals in
Both
every game.
Both teams to score in every game. That as a bet could be...
That would be juicy, especially when you got Leicester and Ipswich.
Yeah, that could genuinely be it. But they'd be big price.
Might have to have a look at that, yeah. Both teams to score in every game.
In every game, yeah.
I like it. I like it.
There we go. Right, we are going to leave it there. We're going to head off and go and watch the Leeds game. There will be a deadline stream, so don't worry if we didn't get round to answering your question. Unfortunately, it will just be me. Jake's got work tomorrow. On a weekend.
No.
Terrible. But I will be here from around about 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. We'll be live till around about 10 o'clock. Then I'm going to go and do some stuff for the second channel. Big video planned for that one. So make sure you are heading over to that channel as well and hitting subscribe over there. There was a video that went up this morning that was me and Jake at the Bradford game yesterday. So if you want to go and watch that as well, treat yourself to a nice little Friday night watch.
You're underplaying it, mate. That was one of the best atmospheres I've been to in English football, and it was the League Two game. We went to see Rotherham against Mansfield today as fans, and there were 10,000 people in a League One game. There were over 20,000 people at this League Two game. Yeah, and there wasn't anything riding on it. I know it was a potential for getting automatics, but there were no clarity after. There was going to be no pitch invasion. There was going to be no title winning scenario. It was just getting behind the team. The flag show was immense. Yeah, and unfortunately, they didn't get the win over the line because of a bloody wonder strike. Yeah, that was a great goal. So yeah, check it out. You'll be able to see the wonder strike, and you'll be able to see what a good atmosphere really can look like. Because I was blown away, to be honest, and I've never been to Bradford before, never planned to go to Bradford before, but I will go back to Valley Parade. Yeah, bro. No 7 a.m. We'll be up at 8 a.m. Don't you worry. We'll be there. Don't you worry about it. Thank you very much for that glowing review, mate. That was nice. Right. That's lovely. No worries. That was lovely. That. I was there too. So. You was there too, yeah. Right, like I said, I will be live tomorrow, so I will see you then. Thank you very much, Jake. And thanks for having me behind the scenes. Behind the scenes, mate. Who's going to be the lucky fan to get behind the scenes next time? I don't know, mate. Honestly, if people could see what is the other side of this camera, though. Jesus Christ. There you go. What? We need a sponsored Hoover. Yeah, what is this cretin living conditions wise? Anyway, we will see you next time. I'll be live tomorrow, so bye-bye.